We are live for Empire State of Baseball, episode number 128 on this Monday, June the 9th, 2025, airing on Instagram, X, and YouTube, and as always, powered by StreamYard. And today we are just a trio. We are without Joe today. He's out on assignment. So shout out to our guy, Joe, from afar. Corey's going to be holding it down from the Mets end. Corey, hopefully you had a great weekend. Hopefully it was a chill weekend because you have one hell of a weekend coming up this weekend, Corey.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't believe it. For those who don't know, getting married next weekend, miss a couple of weeks going to Hawaii pretty much right after the honeymoon. So only about 2 weeks I'll miss. I'll be back at the last June episode. But it's crazy. I can't believe time flew. It was a chill weekend. It's going to be a crazy weekend next weekend. And ESB will be in person. Maybe we'll do a live stream at the wedding. Who knows?
Yeah, we're gonna have we'll have the full quartet, Thomas. Tom, you gonna rock the sunglasses indoors on Saturday as you typically do?
I mean, anything to not have to look at your ugly mug,
of course,
could help. But yeah, the chances of doing some sort of a podcast on Saturday. I mean, you three can have fun with it, but I'm out. I have a meeting with some gin and tonics, possibly some.
Oh boy.
That's whiskeys on the rocks.
Is that the game plan? That's what we're rolling with, gin and tonic, whiskey.
You know, you gotta let the vibe just kind of take you there. I don't know if there's gonna be some signature drinks. I don't know what the menu looks like. You gotta do some pairings here. But sometimes you just get to the bar and you look and you let the feeling hit you. But a G&T at a wedding is pretty good.
We're gonna have to do a Bulls and Bears ranking of drinks at a wedding.
Oh,
see, this guy's thinking. This guy's always thinking. Even on the most amazing day of his life, he's already thinking content and how we can twist this into an ESB thing. I love the commitment there, Corey. Guy's gonna spin an Instagram reel right there. That's gonna hit like 3 million views on Saturday. First of all, gotta shout out my chat here. Appreciate you guys showing up as always. Today is a light day for New York baseball. Both the Yankees and the Mets are off, so there's no excuse. So if you haven't already, send out the link to join us here for Empire State of Baseball. It's just the three of us, so we don't have the Joe Puglisi joining us, getting Tom all riled up. So we definitely want to hear some participation from the crowd. We could actually get your thoughts in. It's nice to hear from my other co-hosts half the time when Joe's not here. But let's take a look at the chat. And there's Mike Pars. This is at 9:56 in the morning. ESB putting on a great show is like rain in New York lately, guaranteed. Yeah, it's been a very, very wet start to the month already here in June. I thought the rain was supposed to happen in April, and May and June were supposed to be dry and clear. It just never happened that way.
Yeah.
Jacob Petruzzi, 23 subs away from 500. Let's get these fellas there. Thank you very much, Jacob. Sierra in the building. What up, y'all? Happy Monday. And Alana here goes, 5 more days, Corey. 5 more days. Insane stuff that we're that close. Got a great episode for you guys tonight. Special episode. It's always a special episode when there's a guest involved. Tonight's episode, a little different. Typically, we've done the live format for our guests, which is awesome. And we love, getting the participation from the crowd and having to bounce off each of the hosts for their questions. But we did film the interview a little bit earlier today. We're going to play that interview live later on tonight. That'll be the main event of tonight's show. And before we get into the rundown, Tom, let's talk Rowback.
Let's talk Rowback as we are heading into the summer, and we are less than now a week away from Father's Day. And again, there is no better Father's Day gift under that Father's Day tree that Rich is yet to find than some nice new Rowback. We're talking polos, hoodies, Q-zips, bathing suits, joggers, regular shorts, active T-shirts. Basically anything you could want, clothing-wise, comfortable, athleisure-wise, Rowback has it. Plus a lot of nice stuff for the women as well. American Summer Collection still going strong. So if you're looking for some nice new stars and stripes, if that's something a little more tame, maybe just some blue and red striped shirts, or if you want something with a lot of different with bald eagles and the U.S. outline and all kinds of stuff across it, Rowback has you covered. Head over there, use promo code TWASPL15, score yourself 15% off of your first order.
And the Roback Rundown brought to you by Roback Crave Activity. For tonight's episode, a little bit of a last-minute switch in the schedule. So we got the Empire Express and Book It. Empire Express, the latest and greatest in Mets-Yankees news. Book It. We'll go to our guy, Took, who's got his next series prediction and player to watch for the week. It actually hasn't been a great season for Book for Took, but he actually nailed his last prediction. So shout out to Took. He got the Royals over the Cardinals in the non-video week. So shout out to Took for getting back in the win column. Then
he got the one before that. He had Yankees over. Oh no, he took the Mets over the.
He took the Yankees over the Dodgers, but he did have Jason
saucy
Dominguez
little gentleman.
He did have the player to watch to be Jason Dominguez, and Dominguez actually had a great series, so I gave him the credit for Dominguez. So there was a win right there for the Dominguez pick. We're switching the last two, so we're gonna actually do the lineup card third. That's our game of the week, and then we're gonna wrap things up with the At the Plate interview with Emmanuel Berbari. So, which again, did that earlier today, hopped on with him in the afternoon. Great interview, went about a half hour. So for the last half hour of the show, we're going to play out that interview and react right after. But we're going to get things started with the Empire Express. And Corey Favs, since it's your special day, since it's just you representing the Mets side of the house, let's start with the New York Mets and what's been going on with the Metropolitans. And we got a little bit of an updated graphic here for our Empire Express moving forward. The Mets still first place in the National League East, going into today with a 4.5 game lead over the Phillies. The Phillies just got swept by the Pirates, so things aren't really going well for those Philadelphia Phillies. And the rest of the NL East just doesn't look good. I mean, the fact that we're in early June and there's a third place team that's 11.5 games out and your team's on top of it, it's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it really was what you wanted coming out of last week. You split the Dodgers series, and that was a big 2 of 4 split there because the Mets won the first 3-game set. So now the Mets own the tiebreaker. I don't think the Mets and Dodgers are going to be two teams fighting it out for a wild card spot with each other, but you never know. The crazy things have happened. Also from a seeding standpoint, same record. That'll give home field. So it's good to have that tiebreaker, so you're very happy you take it. You take 2 of 4 against most teams pretty much any time out, especially when you're dealing with the reigning champions. And then the Rockies, you have to go in there and sweep the Rockies. I mean, absolute worst. If you have a 6-game set against a team, because the Mets had them the week prior also, absolute worst, you have to go 5-6 across 6 games. The Mets did what they had to do. They swept the series. There's not many series I would go into saying you have to get the sweep. That was one you had to get the sweep. So they just took care of business. I'm not going to be shouting from the rooftops because the week could have even been better. The Mets had a legitimate chance to sweep the Dodgers. Both losses came late from the bullpen. I think the first loss of the series, Edwin Diaz was on rest because he already pitched 3 games in a row. So Brazoban came in, had 1 bad pitch, 1 home run, tied the game. They ended up losing. And then Reed Garrett, who's been absolutely phenomenal. And he was a runner-up or honorable mention for a bare spot last week. He had his worst outing of the season, coughed up 3 runs in the 8th inning of the last game of that series. Mets were up 4-0 at one point that day. So they had a legitimate chance to sweep the series. So ultimately, though, it is what it is. They did what they had to do. The job was go ahead, take 2, sweep the Rockies. They did just that. And in parallel, you mentioned it, Rich, the Phillies. What a weekend to get swept by the Pirates. And the Pirates got some good players. You got Paul Skeens, young phenom out there on the mound. So if you lose a game to the Pirates, all right, so be it, but they got swept. 4.5 games back now. And how about the Atlanta Braves? I mean, we spoke about them last week about not looking good. They just continue to lose ball games. And that was a team who had the bad start. I think they were 7 or 10 games under 500 at some point earlier in the year, made their way back to 500. Ronald Acuna coming back. Everything's looking good. Here come the big bad Braves, and they're 10 under again. So, I mean, what a week for the Braves in the opposite direction. NL East right now, very rough. Every team's on a losing streak except the Metropolitans on a winning streak.
It's a bit of a go ahead, Tom.
Rich. I was going to say, I was going to go for like a different kind of question for Corey, because something I saw on Twitter today I thought would be interesting. Corey, pull that graphic back up, Rich. We're seeing these offensive statistics that Pete Alonso is putting up, and he's leading the team. He's not just leading the team with some of these. He's up there. He's leading the league at RBIs. He was up there with a lot of other these major statistics. Corey, I saw someone trying to make the case today. Could Pete Alonso not steal, but take the MVP away from Shohei Ohtani this year? Curious if you think that's possible. What would need to happen for that? Because I have my thoughts on it, and I'm just curious to see what you think.
I will say this. It's similar to the Lindor situation last year, where Lindor and Ohtani were going back and forth, and Ohtani was putting up such phenomenal numbers. And it would have been really hard for Lindor to do it, and he lost steam, and Ohtani, the favorite to win anyway, that pretty much sealed his fate. You look at Ohtani's numbers this year. I mean, he's got 23 home runs. So he just have a little more pop than Alonso this year. You look at the averages, relatively close. They're within, 6, 7, 8 points of each other. You look at the OPS.
I mean,
about the same.
Pete has him beat. Pete has the higher average.
Pete's got him beat on average. The OPS is slightly less for Pete, but you're not talking a lot of percentage points. They're within 0.2, 0.02 of each other. So they're really close in OPS. I think there's a legitimate case to be made, especially looking at the Dodgers roster. I mean, you got Freddie Freeman, who's been just as clutch for that team as Ohtani's been. You look at the New York Mets, what Pete has done for this team. The month of April, he single-handedly, him and Lindor were the only offense for the month of April. So he single-handedly won them big moments. He cooled down. The first half of May was cold. Impossible to maintain that stretch he's been on. And he's doubled down. He's just as good now in the last 3 or 4 weeks as he was to start the season. I think there is a legitimate case to be made. The question I want to see for Alonso, though, is can he maintain it through a whole season and avoid one of those month-long slumps? Ohtani, I don't think will get into one of those month-long type slumps. Alonso can, but right now, if the season ended today, there's a legitimate case for Alonso MVP.
That's the thing, because what was going to hurt Lindor last year is he doesn't put up the power numbers. He was going to get dwarfed by Ohtani, right? Like, Lindor is a guy he's going to get you 30 maybe homers, maybe 35 on the way there, but last year. But when Ohtani hits almost 60, it's tough. Or Pete could hit. I mean, even if Ohtani clips him in homers, but if Pete hits 45 and Ohtani hits 55, then we're pretty close. Honestly, I think. If the Mets, now the Dodgers haven't been great this year, right? Overall, besides that Saturday against the Yankees where they absolutely embarrassed us. I think if the Mets could have a better record than the Dodgers this year, I really think Alonso could take it, especially if Ohtani doesn't pitch this year, because he's a DH. I mean, Pete is playing the field, and he's not the best first baseman, but at least he's out there. He's expelling energy playing first, where Ohtani just gets to sit and then and hit off the pitching machine to get ready for his ABs. I think there's a legitimate chance. Another stat that I think will be kind of interesting with it, where RBI, I know the baseball nerds don't like anymore because it's a team stat and all that kind of stuff. But listen, man, like if you're talking MVP, how do you win games? What's the thing you have to do to win games?
Exactly. You got to drive and run.
You got to drive in runs. And at this point, Alonso is 61 and Ohtani is 39. So I mean, he's producing. Ohtani, now granted, Ohtani has scored 20 more runs than him, but Ohtani also is on the top of the lineup. I don't know. It's interesting either ways you look at it. I just think if the Mets could finish with a better record than the Dodgers, or close to it at the very least, I think Alonso, if he keeps this up, can take this MVP away from Ohtani. I wonder if there's also going to be some Ohtani fatigue. I know I was just gonna
say, even with Ohtani, even with some Ohtani glazing, a lot of Ohtani glazing, I do think there's going to be a little bit of voter fatigue. And then it always comes down to the question, like, where would your team be without certain players? I think the Dodgers would still be the Dodgers without Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, it's a big hit to their offense. I'm sure to their pitching staff, and Ohtani gets into the rotation mix, but the Dodgers are still going to play Los Angeles Dodgers baseball, the reigning champions. For the New York Mets, I don't know if that's the case, especially this early portion of the year. Pete Alonso at this point is right there at a co-share for Mets MVP with Francisco Lindor at this point. So I don't know how this offense would rock with, the early, let's call it struggles of Juan Soto and just Francisco Lindor leading the charge. Pete's been the biggest carrier from a power standpoint to that offense as he's been. It's just he's been on a fantastic start that we really thought was going to die down, and there was signs of it, and he's just picked it right back up again. So, no, shout out to Pete Alonso. It's going to be a very interesting conversation when we get closer, Tom. And honestly, for the sake of change, for the sake of having another MVP in New York, I'm all for it. Let's go, Pete. I hope he pulls this out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Raiders are probably getting tired, the fatigue of Ohtani. I know the ESPNs, the Foxes, and the networks, they're not getting tired because it sells ads for them. But I'm sure there's some writers who are getting a little tired of it. And I think someone like Alonso could provide a different option.
Yep. And for real quick, just to look at the schedule here, the Mets off like the Yankees today. They face the Nationals and the Tampa Bay Rays, hosting 6 straight games at home. Those are the probables going in. I mean, I think those probables might not be fully correct because I believe the Mets are in a 6-man rotation, if I'm not mistaken, there, Corey Favs. So I'm not sure if Canning's going
6-man. Yeah, they're in a loose 6-man rotation. Blackburn actually came out of the pen for I think 4 innings the other day. In one of the blowout wins, they put him in there for 4. Because they have the off day, I think they went back to regular. It depends on the scheduling that they're going to be a loose 6-man rotation down the stretch here. And whenever they have those stretches of like 2 weeks straight of games, 10 days straight of games, whatever it might be, they'll likely go with the 6-man.
And it's funny, the 2 teams that the Mets are facing kind of in the same situation in both their respective East divisions, both third place teams, both trying to hang on to something. We didn't really expect much out of both the Nationals and the Rays. And yet they're still putting up a good fight. They have some young players in that core. Junior Caminero for Tampa Bay has really taken off. James Wood is going to be an all-star this year for the Nationals. So looking ahead here to the schedule, Corey Favs, what's the goal? Is it just take series here? Or are you looking at 4 of 6? Are you looking at 6 of 6 here?
I mean, again, at this stretch of the season, you just keep winning series. You're going to get the job done. So I want 4 of 6. But I'll tell you what, I think I would love to go out there and see a 5 of 6 week and just continue to stay hot, make a team like the Philadelphia Phillies have to be hotter in order to gain ground. 4 of 6 is the minimum for my opinion. I just, again, take the series. I would love to see 5 of 6. If you can go in here, sweep Washington, maybe you lose a game there, and then you either sweep or take 2 of 3 from the Rays, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, especially against the Nationals, who've shown some signs of life over the last month. Mm-hmm. Definitely love to continue that 11.5 lead or better over Washington. Before we get to the Yankees side of the house, there's a couple of comments came in here. We haven't seen this guy in a while. It's Hector over at Uptown Sports TV. He goes, Richie Rich, salute my guy. Shout out to you. Dr. Kulo is in the building. Yo, yo, yo. And my guy Swift's here as well. Richie Rich, Tom, Corey, mi hermanos, como estás? All right, there we go, Swift. Love it. All right, let's get into it. New York Yankees. Oh, and Jordan Tyler just got in. And another Jordan DeRose as well over at X. So shout out to you guys. All righty, let's get into it with the New York Yankees here, Thomas. Not the best of weekends for them to come off of, losing 2 out of 3 to Boston. You don't like losing to a rival, but you also don't like losing to a rival that struggled as hard as Boston this year. I actually kind of fear that this weekend might have woke a sleeping giant with the Red Sox. Despite their struggles, they called up their top prospect, Roman Anthony, today to join that young core of talent that's still being led by a guy like Rafael Devers, who's probably going to be the National League All-Star starter at third base, All-Star DH, I should say. But yeah, man, what's your feeling on this team coming out of a tough weekend?
Can I do some bad podcasting?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't. I mean,
you typically do, so I don't know what's changing.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me that much, honestly. I was thinking, it's tough. You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose to the Red Sox, right? It sucks.
What bothers you, Tom? This is week after week. Every time they lose to a big team, especially a team in the media, and they get embarrassed on national TV, it's like, oh, it doesn't bother me. What bothers you then? Just the October games?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. That is kind of all that bothers me. We've gone through this season after season of stress and series after series. The Yankees are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to win the East. The AL stinks. They really just have to get past the Tigers. And you can clip this later when they inevitably get knocked out by like the Astros and the DS. But I kept thinking, especially during that Dodgers series, that like how much it all came down to the World Series last year and just nothing else mattered. Like none of the other games and the struggles and this guy struggling here and this guy, not pitching well there. It all kind of like none of that matters with the team that has the expectations the Yankees have. So, if the Yankees are truly sputtering, they had a bad series. Their offense looked really good. Pitching didn't look good. Rodon had a bad effort in the first time in a long time. Love that Joe's missing this. He's probably, just smiling ear to ear watching the other day. But he's been really good this year. The pitching let them down. They need some reinforcements. Been saying that for weeks. Mm-hmm. And until I think that the division is truly in jeopardy, which I don't, because I think the rest of the division stinks. I'm not going to get too worried. I got too much else going on in my life to get too worked up about the Yankees losing and blowing a game to the Red Sox. As long as they're still going to win that division. That's kind of where I land with it. I don't know. That's bad podcasting. I didn't know.
I somewhat kid. Only just because the last few weeks after seemingly a bad loss, I'm not worried. I don't care. I'm not worried. So it's like, okay, when do we care? But
there is a point. There obviously is.
There is a point. And that's the thing. The Yankees haven't reached that point. And to the preview that I put out on Instagram, one of the questions I was going to ask is, which team is more susceptible to a June swoon? And honestly, like it's a very commonplace question because every team goes through some kind of sputter at some point. You call it a June swoon, August swoon, whatever. We saw this 2 out of the last 3 years, Tom, with 23 was just a wash. 23 was terrible. But in 2022 and 2024, where the Yankees were off to historic starts in both seasons, they fell out of it for a bit. And even to a point where it seemed like the division was going to be lost. That's how bad it was. They got off to a historic start in 2022, and they had other teams climb back into the role when they were about 10 games going into the All-Star break, and that seemed to not be the case. You hope a team doesn't get into this mix. It's bound to happen. My thing is, and you look at that stretch, the last 9 games, 4 and 5. This is very, very. I hate to call. You could turn this around quick. The Yankees can come out. They take 2 out of 3 against Kansas City, which is coming up this week. And go out and take 2 out of 3 against Boston. And guess what? You've now reversed that split. What could have been a really bad start to the month, you've actually turned into more of a positive. And here's the other thing too. When it comes to these bad starts, these bad series, losing 2 out of 3 against Boston, losing 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. The one positive I can always say here, Tom, is at least it's happening now in June. At least there's a midseason deadline to address the needs. And if anything, these series kind of expose what the issues are. And we're still a month away. Certain players that are struggling right now can turn it around. Like Jonathan Loaiza, let's face it, hasn't looked good since coming back.
It's weird. He looks good, but then he gives up a homer.
But also he can go on a month stretch and turn it around completely and be one of the best relievers in the bullpen. Devin Williams, you saw at the beginning of the year, really struggled hard. He's turned around and been a better contributor to the back end of the bullpen. Do I trust him fully? No. But clearly, that's a need right there. The Yankees need to address bullpen. When it comes to the infield, Jazz, honestly, is maybe my words in just a few games at third base. He's looked phenomenal at third base, unless he gets mic'd up by ESPN, stupid ESPN.
You knew that was coming. I knew that was coming too.
It's so. By the way, off topic, that is so ridiculous. And I get ESPN is trying to attract the casual fan. Listen, MLB, the ESPN's losing the MLB license anyway. Let these players focus on playing baseball, especially on defense. Mic them up in the dugout. Mic them up after their last at bat, and they're just sitting there for a couple innings. I mean, it's ridiculous. Corey Favs, it's absolutely ridiculous miking up players in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I'm mixed. I agree. It's a distraction, and the game is what's most important. It's interesting for the fans, but like you said, it's, there's better ways to do it. I think you do a lot of broadcasts. What they'll do is, like you said, they'll do it in the dugout, grab the player for a few minutes, see what happens. Sometimes it's cool seeing them in the field, but I tend to agree with you. It is what it is. ESPN on the way out. We'll see what the next broadcast has in store for us.
The thing is, though, like, unless you get a guy like Jazz, and Jazz is just electric, right? He's an electric personality. He's gonna entertain.
It's the guy you want.
Anywhere,
it's the guy you want
is.
For that.
Most of the time, it's just guys who are just doing the company line. They're like, yeah, love my teammates. We're playing the Red Sox, quality team, really good. I know they're having a rough spell, but they got some great players over. And
nothing more different than a post game.
You're not getting anything out of it. Like Jazz, but like Jazz is there's not a lot of Jazzes in Major League Baseball who are really going to give you something. So that's why usually it's boring. Like they're hoping for what happened for Jazz to be talking and then making an error. So it's like a viral moment. I don't know. I don't like it either. It's fun in the All-Star game. It was really cool when they did it with like Nestor and Trevino in that All-Star game in LA where they were like talking to each other as they were going through the signs. Like that's really cool, but I don't know. It's definitely a jump the shark thing, and it's like we need to think of something else because we've been doing this for like over a decade.
Well, for the All-Star thing, I mean, anything that's somewhat exhibition. I mean, mic up everybody. Why not? Let's just have some fun, But regular season games where every play counts. No, I know defensive player, especially a third baseman. I know they've more gone for outfielders because outfielders are not really involved in every single play. I remember Brandon Nimmo during the Subway Series was the one who was mic'd up for that Sunday night game. Outfielder. I mean, sure, you might get a play or two, but how much is the microphone thing distracting? But honestly, if you're a fielder, be focused on what's happening in front of you.
Lindor, I know there was a game, Corey's probably remember, early in the year, Lindor's mic'd up. I think Lindor made like 2 putouts as he was going through it, which was.
Yeah, I forgot exactly when it was, but I remember. You're right, Tom. That was wild. He got the plays right after as soon as as he was talking on the mic.
But yeah, again, we're not getting anything out of it. We need to innovate to come up with something new.
And with our schedule ahead, no ESPN game, luckily, finally this Sunday.
I was shocked. I was going to say, Rich, this has to be a typo. There's no way they're playing a Yankee.
It's a 1:35. I mean, I guess anything can change, right? But they're a 1:35 start. They actually had Max Fried originally just penciled in to pitch Wednesday. They just flipped it because they had the off day. Fried's now pitching tomorrow against the young Noah Cameron, and then again Sunday against Brian Bayo. So the Yankees see Garrett Crochet again. I'll say one other thing too on the Yankees, and then we'll leave it here. I mean, the one thing that kind of came out of this weekend that I was a little bit, I'm starting to get a little bit, starting being the operative word, starting to get a little bit worried about the rotation. And I don't know if it's too soon of a call right now. Listen, you're going to get what you get out of Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. Those two are headed to the All-Star game at Truist Park. I mean, mark my words there. That's how good of a stretch Rodon has had, ever since those early season hiccups.
Of course, Fried start there.
Max Fried could potentially be an all-star starter unless Tarek Skubal has something else to say about it. Skubal's been impressive.
I mean, because in Atlanta, though, we could have Fried start in Atlanta. That'd be.
Yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense, right? That tells the better story. Max Fried start the All-Star game in Atlanta. But anyway, more on that. That's 36 days away. So when it comes down to it, Ryan Yarbrough has been fantastic. I've compared him to what Nestor Cortez was a few years ago. Just a crafty left-handed pitcher. Didn't cost the Yankees much to pick him up. Has really done a fantastic job. Didn't look great Saturday at all. Clark Schmidt is hit or miss. Will Warren, let's face it, hasn't looked really good since that mid-May stretch. So that's 3 components of the rotation. And what was, why the Yankees were successful in May was the rotation. So, Tom, are you starting to feel a little bit worried with the starting rotation as is?
Yeah, I know you and I went on a bit of a rant probably 6 weeks ago or so about Will Warren and Clark Schmidt being stinky. And after that, they were good. So I don't know, Rich, do we want to do an impromptu 90 seconds here about how Clark Schmidt and Will Warren suck and they stink and we need to replace them? And maybe they'll listen to this and get all hyped up because it seemed to work last time.
Right. And hey, you know what? I'm all for it. You guys got to get your act together. We're staring at a midseason deadline. We know Luis Hill is going to make his way back eventually. So there's going to be a spot that's taken out between the Yarbrough, Warren, and Schmidt group. And honestly, for the Yankees' sake, and we haven't gotten into the trade deadline talk. We're getting very, very close to it. I think the Yankees have to go out and get a starting pitcher. And it's usually not the market I see the Yankees in midseason because their starting pitching is usually pretty damn deep and they need somebody on the offensive side. They need a bullpen.
Marcus Stroman is coming back.
I think this is the deadline. Stop that, please. Really? That's the solution, Marcus Stroman.
They're building them up.
There has to be a better option there, because my fears is looking at who's going to be the stable parts of this rotation. It's guys that have had injury history outside of Max Fried. So I think having a guy that's right there, that slots right after Rodon, is their best route. Again, we're going to get more into it. We're going to do our mock soon. That's a lot of fun. We've been doing that the last few years. That's going to be all hell. But yeah, I think the Yankees have to start looking at rotation options, externally. All righty. We're going to move on from there. And before we get to book it, let's get to Instagram. And with Instagram is our groom, Corey Favs. Take it away.
Yeah, go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Empire State of Baseball. You'll find all our meme reels, archived segments, graphics from the show, you name it, you'll find it on the gram. So go ahead at Empire State of Baseball. And all of us individually, myself at Corey Favs, Joe at JR Pugs, Rich at Rivera, and Tom at T Wospil. We're at 7,100 followers and growing. So go ahead and add a follow to that count.
I know one of those Instagram followers is Jack Esposito. Actually, I don't even know if Jack has an Instagram. He's on the older side, but shout out to my guy, Jack, who's in the building. Shout out to Jack. All righty, let's get into it. It's time. What was that, Tom?
Calling him out. God, poor Jack.
Oh, that's my guy, Jack Esposito. Shout out to Jack. Stat on zone there, Jack. All righty, let's get into it. It's book it. Matt, our guy he's had some bad luck this year. Bad record of, what is it now? He's now 4-9. To kick off 2025. Still a lot of room to make up, and hopefully he can get started this week. So let's take a look at Book with Tooks. Book it.
What's up, ESB crew? Took is back with Took's Book It Pick of the Week. And this week, I think we're going to go with the Dodgers versus the Padres. Now, I'm going to pick the Dodgers just because the team that I picked's been losing, and I want to see the Dodgers lose. But I think the Dodgers are going to take the series, and I think Max Muncy will be the player to watch this week. What do you guys got?
Well, there you have it. So Book with Took going with the Dodgers here. So he's playing Dodger Nation here, Tom and Corey. And he's even, listen, I even feel bad. Took is acknowledging the fact that it's been a rough year for Book with Took ever since the rebrand. I mean, we might have to consider going back to Chooch's pick of the week here, Corey Favs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best of stretch, and we'll see what happens this series. It is a great series, though. Both teams within a game of each other. I actually hope the Chooch loses because same as sentiment as him. I don't like the Dodgers. I want to see them lose. And Max Muncy, though, I will say that's a pretty good pick because he had a couple salute moonshots when he was playing us. So the guy's got some pop. He could wreck a game with a couple of long balls.
Tom?
Yeah, both teams kind of sputtering. Dodgers 5-5 in the last 10. Padres 6-4. So not the level of winning that you would expect for either of these teams. The Giants actually getting themselves right into that race as well. Only one game back. I'll take the Padres. Home. The Dodgers again. I think with the Yankee colored glasses on, we saw the best they had to offer, and it seems like anything outside of that series, they haven't been great. I don't think Padres been great either, but I'll give me the Padres.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I'm actually going to be with you there, Tom. I'm also going San Diego as well. 2 out of 3 sounds about right. Hard to sweep the Dodgers, even though the Angels did that like only a couple weeks ago. But yeah, only this division. So I mean, they don't call it the Wild Wild West for a reason. As June 9th, the Dodgers with just a 1-game lead over both the Padres and the Giants. They're all in that mix. And the Diamondbacks, which it doesn't seem right that they're 31-34. And I know they just lost Corbin Burns, which is a huge loss to their rotation. Zach Gallen really has been it. But their offense is one of the best in baseball. I mean, they're out there, coming back for down. They had a comeback against Atlanta the other day where they were down 7 runs in the 9th inning. So it just seems like the Diamondbacks are just a weird team. They seem like a team on paper that should be so much better than what they're doing right now. 31-34, and of course they're playing in division with the Sunday softball Colorado Rockies, who are 12-53. So yeah, very weird, wild National League West. But book it. He's going with the Dodgers. I am respectfully going against it, and it's a smart play based on his 4-9 record here. But let's hope that Took finally gets one right here from a team perspective. But Book with Took, this whole thing is brought to you by Book with Took. Make sure to give Book with Took a follow on Instagram for all your Disney, Universal Studios booking needs. He's fantastic, working with the Believe in Magic Travel. He's now booking tickets, believe it or not, He's booking tickets now to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. We're already thinking Halloween this
That's
far
scary.
out into the year. It's crazy, right? This is going down in Magic Kingdom. Mickey's Boo to You Halloween parade. I know, Tom, you're a big Disney head, and even Corey Favs. So this is a different language to
me. I was gonna say, listen, so back in 2019, I actually went to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party on Halloween. We were on a friend's trip down to Disney. A lot of fun. You get to trick or treat in the Magic Kingdom, get to dress up. They got a bunch of different things going on.
Whoa.
It's a lot of fun. It is something I would say if you like Disney, kids are not worth the to go for it. It's definitely a cool experience.
Worth the price of admission. So we're already thinking.
Oh, I mean,
early
the price
Halloween
of is astronomical, but it is fun.
It's a good time. All righty. Well, that's far out in October, but again, if you're getting on the ball early, make sure to check out Book with Took. Give him a follow on Instagram, and it'll hook you up with all the Disney travel needs. Okay. Typically we would go to Joe for YouTube, but Tom's gonna fill in for Joe here and touch on the tube.
All right, so I got a question for you out there. How are you watching us right now? If you're watching us on YouTube, good job. I would give you a like if I could. Actually, probably not, because I don't care that much. If you're watching us on our other platforms, so you're watching us on Twitter or maybe on Instagram, if we do that anymore, don't know if we do.
We do.
We definitely appreciate it, but YouTube is the home. It's the mothership. It's where we really want you to engage with us on the show. We're trying to grow our following count on YouTube. So if you're not watching us there, please head over to YouTube, find Empire State of Baseball, give us a like on the video, share, subscribe, and help us just continue to grow this channel. You've done a great job helping us grow so far, and let's just keep that going.
Absolutely. And we thank all our subscribers out there. It costs nothing to subscribe. Actually, the one thing that Joe has always mentioned is that, when we hit the 500 mark, we'll be doing a giveaway. We did a giveaway when we hit the 250. We try to do a giveaway every 250 mark that we hit. So make sure to help us get those subs up so we can have a giveaway show and give away something even cooler than an Oswald Peraza and Brett Beatty autograph card. I think we do a little better than that when we hit 500, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just putting that out there. But let's move on. We're gonna get into our game. We usually reserve our game for last, but we're actually gonna save our At the Plate interview with Emmanuel Berbari. So we're gonna get into it with lineup card today as our game. Corey Favs, why don't you get us going here? You have an advantage though, because there's no Joe here. So
really
we're relying on two Yankee fans to figure out who's missing out of the lineup that you presented here. So what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a little bit of a on this day. So on this day, back in 2009, figured, why not? Let's do a different type of year. Mets played the Phillies. Mets won this game 6-5. So looking at the lineup, you're missing 3 players: the 2, the 4, and the 9 spots.
So we're missing a shortstop. We are missing a left fielder, and we're missing.
I mean, there's an obvious guy I would love to just guess, but I feel like Corey just wouldn't.
Are we? Is 9 the pitcher though? So that we got to get the pitcher.
I can confirm it's the pitcher. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is tough.
Okay. What do I want to burn through first? Pitcher, shortstop, or left field? Wait, is this year? Batting 4th, and in left field, Jason Bay.
It is not Jason Bay. I think he signed that offseason following 09.
So he was with. This is when he went from Pittsburgh to Boston, 2009.
Yes.
So no Jason Bay. So 1 strikeout, 1 K for me. 3K system. Nobody look at the chat except for Corey.
Oh, good call. No guessing in the chat. Well, someone said something about David Wright, but he's already in the lineup. So, shortstop I'm thinking of is 2. Wouldn't be there yet.
This is gonna be a hell of a poll.
Go ahead. I'll say no, because it's definitely not him, because he wouldn't be batting second.
2009. No, wait, actually, it wouldn't be that guy. I know what team he pitched for. It wasn't that team. Nah. Batting 9th and pitching Johan Santana.
It is Johan as
God
the pitcher.
damn it, I was gonna say
There you
that. I really wanted to guess John Maine, but
Same error.
yeah.
111 in the building. Thank you guys so much. We're not ignoring your comments in the chat. I just can't look because that would be cheating. So we have Johan Santana batting ninth and pitching. We're missing a shortstop and a left fielder. Jason
I'm just
Bay
gonna
is not-
say it because it's wrong. Batting second at shortstop is Jose Reyes. Wrong. Next.
Yeah, it's not Reyes.
He had to have been leading off. He must have been gone at this point.
He was probably hurt.
That too.
Yeah.
Let's see, 2009.
I feel like the shortstop's got to be hitting second. I would guess the shortstop's hitting second and left fielder's batting fourth.
You would think so.
You would think so. You would think so. Batting fourth left field, Mike Cameron.
Good guess, not Mike Cameron though.
Damn. Okay, that's okay.
I think left, ironically, was the only position he didn't play with the Mets.
Batting fourth left fielder, Bobby Abreu.
Not Abreu. A couple years early.
Batting fourth left field, Moises Alou.
Not Moises. I love the guess. That was a year too late.
I would have lost my mind.
All right, I'll take my one. Tom, you got 1K left here.
Yeah, I forgot. I swung at a ball 10 feet outside with Jose Reyes.
I love the Alou. Rich did a sandwich. He got Alou and Bay, who
unbelievable. Missed the left fielder in the middle of that. Now you're gonna got me thinking about who it was. Let me look at the chat here and see what they got.
God, I have another terrible guess for shortstop. I'm just gonna rip. Nah, there's no way. It's too late.
This is not a guess. Andrew G in the chat goes, MLB The Show 09 was elite with David Wright on the cover.
Well, yeah, I saw that too. And I traded in this lineup, so.
Thomas.
What the problem is we got the easy one. Santana, usually these go
I don't know
easy,
that.
medium, hard. So Santana's the easy guy.
I don't know if Santana. After this, we might have just been fools on not being able to guess. I mean, it's a 2 and 4 hitter. Like how bad
I love the Moises Alou guess. That was a guess. That was a guess. Moises
Batting
Alou.
fourth. Oh God, I think he was there at some point. Batting fourth left field, Jeff Francoeur.
I think he came here later that year at the deadline. It was not Francoeur.
Okay.
Yankee connection. Are we tapped out?
Oh, now we just
now we're fully
tapped
out. So it's
okay.
all you.
Yankee connection. The 4th spot was Gary Sheffield, left field.
I thought
his last year as a Met. Last year in baseball was 09 as a Met.
Why is his old ass batting fourth? My God.
Yeah, and number 2, he was with the Mets for a few years, and he still has a major league connection today. And you just went against him, Alex Cora, shortstop.
Alex Cora.
Oh, what I want? I really wanted to say Kaz Matsui, but I knew that was so wrong.
Yeah, he was a few years gone. I can't believe Rich sandwiched Gary, because Alou was 07, 08, and Bay was 2010.
The Yankee is the one I miss, which is the funniest thing. Yeah, that's how it would work, right?
Okay.
Oh man. All right, Tom, let's pull your lineup here. Let's take a look at what you got for the Yankees version of this question.
We did. We also went a little bit of a theme, and the theme we went with is centers around number 7 hitter, Tyler Austin. This is the Tyler Austin Joe Kelly fight early in April 2018. So we're missing the 3, the 6, and the 8.
3, 6, 8.
We're missing.
And I will be monitoring the chat.
I'm gonna take a guess. So we're missing 7. Batting 6, Neil Walker, second base.
That you got the 2 harder. Well, you got Neil Walker. It is 6, but he was playing first base.
Oh,
so
he got Neil Walker
batting 6.
Okay, so that's the point. That's a point.
All right. I got it the hard way.
Yes,
as they say.
Got the hard way.
Ready for this one? Batting third left field, Giancarlo Stanton.
Yes, that was the easy one.
When he was playing.
Oh, that was his first year.
His first year. Yep, this is his first year.
So what do we got? We got a left. We got a first and a second still out there.
Well, Neil Walker was playing first base. He said so. We're missing second baseman.
Is this the Refschneider era at second base?
This is not Rob Refschneider.
Okay for Corey. First K of this. So we're just going to rattle off a bunch of second base guests here. Well, it's not the guy I was thinking of because he was traded for Stanton.
I can't believe Corey just absolutely ripped Neil Walker. I thought Neil Walker was.
I remember he had 1 year with the Yankees.
It's probably just a few days too soon, but I'm going to go Gleyber Torres batting 8th at second base.
It is not Gleyber.
Okay. So then who was a second baseman that year?
So that's what 1K
Batting
for Corey,
8th.
1K for Rich.
Yeah.
Let's see. DD's at short. Was Steven Drew second base?
It's not Steven Drew. I think
That's
Steven
a good
Drew
guess.
earlier than this.
It's a good guess, Corey.
It is a good guess.
Ronald Torreyes, second base, batting 8th.
It's not. It is not little Ronald Torreyes.
Damn, Tom.
I gotta get a listen, guys. I'm like in last place. I gotta get points somehow. I thought Neil Walker was getting me a point. I thought this 8 guy was gonna get me a point.
Obscure.
I was giving you Stanton as a a gift.
Obscure as it gets, doesn't it? All right, what do we got KY? So we both got 2 Ks each here, Corey.
That's not. Listen, Rich, it's a guy, Rich. You definitely are aware, and Corey, you're aware of this guy too. This isn't. It's not. I don't know.
It's not an obscurity, is what we're saying.
It's not. I mean, it's
I gotta get this. I got it.
He's batting 8th. He's
yeah.
I'll have a clue after. I'll Corey. I'll have a clue after.
Is it? I forget what positions he's played, but I feel like he played a million. Is it Tyler Wade?
God damn it, Corey.
Was it really?
Yeah. Tyler Wade.
Corey, consider.
Good job, buddy.
Corey, I'm gonna take the check we had writ for your wedding, and I'm ripping it up. You get nothing now for your wedding. It is
wow.
Wade.
Tom is a bad.
Playing
Tom's in a bad spot.
Jack
Tom's in a
Esposito had it
bad
right.
way.
Jack Esposito had it right in the chat. Tyler Wade. Yep.
Or
Oh.
Drury.
I was gonna say he's still active. Tyler Wade, the only
Yes.
guy of these that are still active. Although, what's his name?
Not
Tyler
a bad
Austin
guess.
might still be
Drury.
playing in Japan or wherever the hell he was playing, Korea.
That's nuts. So so on that, Corey pulled 2 points there, 2 points from the game he defended. So 4-point night for Corey Favs, 2-point night for me. So Corey, that's a big change in the guard for you. You were coming in today, with 8. Now you got 12. So you're right there with Joe, right at the top. So taking advantage of the fact that Joe's away. So there you have it. Corey, my man from
I had to get some points. I'm going to miss a few weeks. So
yeah, you are going to miss a couple weeks. So you're going to go right back down to where you began.
and all it needs is a core curriculum to change the whole outcome.
I'm begging for a core curriculum.
And we'll be getting a core curriculum shortly. Actually, and that's a discredit to me. Shout out to our guy, Corey. He's part of the ESB family. He did give birth to his first child last month, which is why he's been away from the core curriculum business. He's obviously he's doing dad duty. So just another dad here, Thomas, around these ESB parts. So shout out to our guy, Corey and Christina at home. Congratulations to them. Hope everything's going well. Before we get to our interview, the main event of tonight's show, just a reminder to give us a follow over on X. That's at ESB Podcasts. For the main page or subsidiaries at ESPNYM, at ESPNYY. Also, make sure to check out A Bronx Take. It's on X every day, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock throughout the week, except for Wednesdays, which is at 5. Shout out to my co-host, Boogie, Chris, Sierra. Boogie, you can follow him, Boogie Dan NYY, Chris at Chris Sierra 618, and Sierra at Sierra not miss. You can follow the crew here. Corey Favs at Corey Favs, JR Pugs, Rich J Rivera, and T Wospil, all on X. And also make sure to check out Extra Innings right after today's show, as we'll do a recap of what went down for episode number 128. And shout out to all 112 of you who are in the building. Really do appreciate it. So with that said, and a special shout out to a couple who just trickled in. NFE, good to see you, buddy. It's been a while. And shout out to my guy CK over at Yankees Pod. But okay, fellas, it's now time. We get to our main event. It's our At the Plate. And I was lucky enough to have some time earlier today to speak to our special guest. And to not waste any further time, let's show you how it was done. And this is how we're going to wrap tonight's show, gentlemen, with our At the Plate guest. So we're going to get that going in just short order. And here we go. This is going to be At the Plate with Rich Rivera, your boy, and EMMANUEL BERBARI. All right, fans, it's now time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Our special guest is a Fordham University alum who would take on play-by-play commentary roles with several organizations in the early stage of his career, from Siena College to the Hudson Valley Renegades, and eventually, where he is now, the New York Yankees on WFAN. And it was at WFAN in 2018 where his professional journey reached new heights as a talk show host, update anchor, and now the host of the New York Yankees post-game show. In 2024, the Long Island native would become a regular panelist on SNY's Baseball Night in New York and would add college basketball on Fox Sports to his play-by-play resume. He is a recipient of 5 awards from the New York State Broadcasters Association and the Associated Press. And now, at the plate, EMMANUEL BERBARI. EMMANUEL, how are you doing today, pal?
Rich, thanks for having me. Quite the intro, so I appreciate being at the plate with you right now.
Well, listen, before we get into it, we got a lot to talk about. We'll talk about your career, the New York Yankees as a whole. They've been playing good baseball, maybe not so much this past weekend, but overall, great baseball for the New York Yankees. We'll talk about that. But before we get down to business, I got to know, because I read your profile, and this really stuck out to me. You're an iced coffee guy, just like me. I love my morning, afternoon, early evening iced coffee, just like you. There we go. We're going to plug Starbucks, even though they don't necessarily
They don't
deserve
sponsor the show, but this is a visual representation of, there's an off day. So I'll admit that I slept in a few more hours than usual and have an iced coffee in my hand already.
So I got to ask the perfect question. You're holding, you just read off the receipt there. Hopefully they spelled your name right. What's been the go-to order?
So I need to coordinate myself here. I got the venti cold brew, blonde shot, extra ice. Now the backstory to this is I used to be big into half and half and milk in my coffee. I would always balance it out. And I used to be way too into it where people would look at me like, what are you drinking, a milkshake? Are you actually drinking coffee or are you drinking milk? And I used to look at them like they had 10 heads, but they would look at me like I had 10 heads. And then eventually what happened is my family went on a vacation and my brother, pure black coffee drinker. And I thought that was insane. I said, how can you drink black coffee that's so bitter? But it's really an acquired taste. Within 4 days on vacation together, he got me into black coffee. Like my taste buds readjusted into being a black coffee drinker. So I really tell anybody, it only takes you 3-4 days. And now I'm only a black cold brew with a blonde shot, and then my day is off and running.
See, I've been convinced by a lot of folks. I communicate to a lot of folks on Yankees Twitter. They know I'm a big coffee guy, and they're always telling me your diet is just simply unhealthy. Switch to black coffee. I'm slowly adjusting. I've added like flavor to my coffee, like unsweetened flavor, like blueberry. Something's still fun, but I still know that's not. We're kind of losing the gist of ordering black coffees to begin with. But no, I had to bring that up because I'm a massive coffee guy, and
it's a big part of life. Big part of life. Yeah. So how can we dodge around that? That's a huge part of every day. When you're a big coffee person, your day doesn't jumpstart without it. So we gotta make it part of the conversation.
Correct. Again, not a sponsor show. America runs on Dunkin'. EMMANUEL runs on Dunkin'. And honestly, your career in broadcasting has been off and running itself. So let's talk about the broadcast industry. Not a path well traveled. We both know this. Networking, tons of networking involved. Highly competitive field. As early as you can recall in your broadcast journey, when did you start convincing yourself that, I could do this thing?
Really good question, because I think we all go into it with open eyes and a little naivete thinking we can do it. And it takes a lot of confidence in yourself and your ability to actually think I can pursue a career where people want to watch me or listen to me. So naturally that takes some confidence early on. You have to have some wild, open-minded confidence. And I think that stems back to high school when I didn't know what I wanted to do, but a couple of my friends were launching a live video streaming program at Harbor Fields High School, where I went to school back on Long Island. And I didn't know what I wanted to do for work at that point. But freshman year of high school, I helped them out, more wanting to fit in with my friends than anything else, and stumbled upon this journey. I called one game, and it was in that moment people talk about their aha moments. It was in that moment where it's not that I realized, okay, this is exactly what I want to do, but I realized this is really cool. And when I watch games, I'm as focused on the announcers and what they're saying as I am on the game itself. And if those two things are equal, you might be onto something. Like that might be a real interest of yours if you're as interested in what the announcers are saying as the play that's going on in front of you on the field, the high level competition. So I just wanted to absorb as much information as I could. I did as many games as I could. Reps is everything, as we know in this business, and applying yourself and trying to get better. And I went to a broadcasting camp at Chaminade High School, where I didn't go to high school, but it was right down the road, essentially. And the guy who ran that camp went to Fordham University. He was an alum. And he introduced me to Fordham, everything I know about the school. And from that point forward, we talk about this blind confidence, even though you got to channel that a little bit, especially when you're young and trying to figure things out. I was so tunnel vision focused. I'm like, I'm going to Fordham. This is how I'm going to make it happen. And, things don't necessarily work out that way. So I'm very fortunate that I did go to Fordham, and I have been lucky enough to have some opportunities. But, most stories would say I had the tunnel vision of I'm going to Fordham, and then life takes you in a different direction. But I just was so focused on making that a reality and then hopefully making the career a reality. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like that early on steering me in the right direction, and several other people who have been so generous with their time steering me in certain directions since I've become a professional in this business. So yeah, that's the short of it, but it goes back to that freshman year high school basketball game.
Right. And you mentioned Fordham University, another voice of the New York Yankees, Michael Kay, product of the school. Throughout the early stages of your broadcast career, were there any broadcasters that you found inspiration in that you channeled during calling collegiate games, and even up to now with the New York Yankees?
Yeah, I think Michael Kay is an easy answer. I grew up watching him, listening to him, so he was an idol of mine. So the fact I've met him and worked alongside, like when I walked through the Yankee Stadium booth area, press box area, I see Michael Kay, and we're friendly with one another. That to me is still surreal. So he was one of them. Mike Breen was one of them, another Fordham alum, a voice of the NBA Finals, voice of the Knicks, and there are so many others. Ryan Rucco, who does a lot of Yankee work and NBA work. Justin Shackle, who I've gotten a chance to work with on the radio side and in a lot of different Yankee circles. But he was probably the first person when I was in college and was trying to expand my horizons and get better. One of the first person to listen to my tape. And that's so essential when you're starting out, having people who you admire and respect the way they do it. And you listen to them and you think, oh, this is what I want to model myself after. You got to be yourself, but we're all a blend of the people we listen to. We have to be real about that, especially early on. There's no roadmap on how to do this. So you model yourself after the people you admire and respect. So having somebody like Justin listen to my tape and then give me thoughts on how I could improve, that was so monumental early on in my journey. That meant so much to me. Ryan Rucco, you talk about confidence. Even though we all have that naivete early, the confidence stems from people actually with credibility telling you can do this. And Ryan was one of the first people to listen to my tape, probably my sophomore year in college. And he said, look, you're never finished product. You have a lot of work to do. But he said, I'm telling you, you have the talent. Any which direction you choose in this field, he said, you have the talent to achieve it. And that carried so much weight and probably was the inspiration towards I have to go at this full bore, because somebody I grew up idolizing is telling me I can do it. So people like that and their kindness went a real long way. And then it's not easy. So it's not like I'm saying it goes from point A of receiving that email to point B of doing X, Y, and Z job. But that's your foundational confidence of, if I stay at this, if I'm persistent about this and just persistent in getting better, maybe something will work out.
You mentioned a ton of great names there. And I love what you said about piecing little pieces of who you listen to and who you talk to over time to kind of form your own style. And I believe that in just life itself, let alone play-by-play, podcasting, whatever it be. It's almost like life is like a research paper. You're taking different sources, but at the end of the day, all these sources, little elements here and there, it still makes you. Like, it's still you at the end of the day. You're still the author of that term paper. So I do love that in terms of broadcasting. Now, I don't get the chance to, in fact, we've never had this opportunity to just do a one-on-one interview here on ESP. It's usually a 4-on-1 handicap match that goes live. So it gets a little crazy, but one of my co-hosts always loves to ask these questions. So I'm going to ask on behalf of him because he loves asking folks, who've been in the booth with legends in the game, if you have great stories with that person. So, of course, you've had the opportunity to work with the legendary Susan Waldman over the past couple of years. Do you have any great Susan Waldman stories over the last couple of years with being in the booth with her?
I mean, listless stories, but I don't. It's funny. Every day is so much fun with Susan, and I just find her not only to be a baseball encyclopedia, but to be hilarious, just in the way she will tell certain lighthearted stories. Like when we're talking about something that's not as serious, but a funny story from the past or a funny story about what she heard that present day. She's just so funny in the way she delivers it, which is why it's hard to pinpoint one. Every day is an experience and a journey with her and a fun one at that. But, I just go back to the memories, and this continues on to this day, but sitting in the booth with her and looking over to my right, and there's Susan. Like that's so crazy to me because that's somebody I grew up listening to and who is a literal legend in this business and trailblaze a path that no one ever would have thought possible when she started out. It's really the little tidbits of advice that she's offered me and the guidance and support that she's thrown in my direction unprompted. Like I would ask for it, but I haven't had to because she's been so generous with her time. That's a bad answer because you're looking for a funny, curtain pulled down type of story. But let's just say there are so many of them every single day where you walk in that booth and you never know what it is you're going to hear or how you're going to be enlightened walking out of that booth.
I mean, there's going to be so many stories too, as the more you spend time with her. Ford C. Frick Award winner, in my opinion, whenever the first ballot of that comes out for Susan Waldman, she deserves that recognition. 100%.
Should have it already. Yeah. In my mind, it's just a slam dunk.
Yeah, absolutely. For those folks who are just joining us right now, we are here with EMMANUEL BERBARI, who has lent his voice to media conglomerates like Fox Sports and Odyssey, WFAN, has been the voice of the Hudson Valley Renegades, is filling in for the New York Yankees, but also does the postgame for the Yankees as well on The Fan. Now, I just want to switch gears. We'll talk about the Yankees for a little bit. The team, 39-25 start, not coming off the best of weekends. You hate losing 2 out of 3 to Boston, especially this Boston team in 2025. But what's some takeaways from this current team? Do you think this American League East lead is sustainable for the Yankees this early in the year?
Definitely think it's sustainable. Now, you never like to lose a series at home to a team that you're better than, or at least you think you're better than. The Yankees, to me, are objectively better than the Boston Red Sox, especially in 2025. But I'm trying to hedge that point with it's June 8th, June 9th today. And you don't like to make any definitive statements in baseball. By the way, if you want a Susan quote, you don't make any definitive statements in baseball. It changes too quickly. You hear that from Susan 100%. All the time. It's one of the most important things I've learned from her. So this Yankee team is in a great spot. They had a rough weekend, especially from a pitching standpoint. I really liked, if you're taking any positive from the last 2 games where the series got away from them, this team is never out of a game. They pick themselves up off the mat very quickly. They fall behind by 4 runs. It could be 4 or 5 runs in the 5th or 6th inning. You always feel like they got a shot to make it interesting, if not win that baseball game. So I love that about this team. I like collectively all year how this is operating like a group that has a lot to prove and with chips on their shoulders. And a lot of this team was not on the field last October when the Dodgers eliminated them in the World Series in 5 games. So it's not like the chip on the shoulder comes directly from that, but that's part of the story. And look at these players and their individual backgrounds and some of the guys who are off to great starts this year, whether it's young guys who are looking to carve out a role or take that next step and prove themselves at the major league level. Yankees have plenty of that. Older guys, veterans who are trying to show that they're still either viable in this game or still star players in this game. So like a Paul Goldschmidt, for example, or a Cody Bellinger, for example. Aaron Judge doesn't have anything to prove in terms of being a superstar, but, he wants to get back to the postseason and dominate. He really does. He wants to win a championship. He's purely motivated by winning. And the little adjustments he makes in his game every single year, it's admirable. It's up there with the greats, and it's why you're seeing him hit 390, 400, because that's not by accident. That's somebody who is making little tweaks in his game every year and already was superstar, behemoth, great, larger-than-life figure, but is never satisfied. You couple that with a pitching staff that I think has done more than we ever could have expected or hoped. The first couple of weeks of the year, they were struggling from a starting pitching standpoint. Carlos Carrasco made a couple good starts, but was mostly struggling. Marcus Stroman made 3 starts and really wasn't it, and then was hurt. So those were 2 spots in your rotation. Will Warren didn't get off to the best start either, and then he found his footing, had that one rough one at Dodger Stadium, but overall has been much better. So those are 3 spots in your rotation. That's 3 spots that were not necessarily holding up their end of the bargain. Now, when you look at it, outside of yesterday where Carlos Rodon allowed a couple of big swings, got Rodon, Cy Young contender, Fried, Cy Young contender, Schmidt, we all trust him to keep you in a ball game. Warren has been much improved. And then Yarbrough, outside of this weekend, has been phenomenal. So look at that starting rotation and how much it's held up and held up weight. The bullpen, I think you're entering a phase of the season where it's been so good, but the Weaver injury, you're dealing with a depth problem where you got to use the same guys every day. So it's not a complaint about the bullpen. I'm just saying they're going to have to evaluate that come the trade deadline. Do we need an arm? Do we need one more arm? How do we want to deploy the bullpen? That'll be an interesting question. Jake Cousins might come back. So it'll just become a numbers game in terms of the bullpen. But this is a favorite in the American League. I think there's no doubt about it. I think the Yankees and Tigers are probably on a collision course if I had to game it right now. So much can change. But you love the makeup of this team, especially without Stanton having played a game, Heel having thrown a pitch, Garrett Cole's out for the year. Those are 3 huge names. And this team's in first place, 15 games over 500. And there's still a lot to be answered, but that's a good thing. This team has done everything I think it possibly can to put himself in a good spot.
Yeah, and you've sort of alluded to that. The Yankees have 3, at least 2 midseason acquisitions right there with Giancarlo Stanton and Luis Hill added to the mix. Maybe there could be a little bit more reinforcement with the bullpen, but the Yankees are in a good spot, and it's good. I always say it's also good to have these issues this early in the year where you have still a midseason deadline to address this. All this stuff kind of blew up in August, and you're kind of SOL, for lack of a better terms. So no, they're in a great spot right now.
They were riding so high. They had won 7 consecutive series before the Dodgers. Before the Dodgers, 2 out of 3, and I like the way that they finished that road trip on a high note and made it 6-3 instead of 5-4. Didn't get swept out there, and Yarbrough with that dominant start on that Sunday night. But they were riding so high that I think it was important. That series happened from a standpoint of, hey, they're not just going to coast here. And I'm not saying it's a good thing to lose series to elite teams. You never want that to happen. But I think these series could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise where, A, the team realizes, look, there's still a lot to prove. And I think they always realize that, but it just is added reinforcement. And then the front office is going to say, especially with the pitching struggles lately, at times, they're going to say, all right, like, where can we improve on the margins? I don't think you're going to see any move at the trade deadline this year, especially with Jazz moving to third full time. Everyone was wondering third base. Well, he's going to play third base. And DJ's been really good at second so far since coming back. There's going to be no earth-shattering move at the deadline. But could we see a pitching move or 2 that could really change this season? Yeah. Because moves on the margins like that really do make a difference at the end. And I think these couple series in particular could be fuel and ammunition for how the front office evaluates his team.
Emmanuel Berbari with us here at The Plate. A couple final questions. I'll wrap the Yankees up with this one here. One date I love to circle on my baseball calendar is the All-Star game, this time resonating in Atlanta. Aaron Judge, Max Fried, virtual locks to send to Truist Park. But it was up to you. If there was a dark horse All-Star that you would also send to the All-Star game, who would you send to Truist?
Good question, because I haven't put too much thought into the All-Star game, and it's creeping closer, and the Yankees have several good candidates. I would, and Aaron Boone's managing the team this year, right? Yeah, because they were in the World Series last year. Maybe we'll have a couple extra Yankees if there are reserve spots, because you got Aaron Boone as the manager putting together the roster collectively. Let me think. If I had a dark horse, I think Carlos Rodon deserves to go. I'm not sure if that's a dark horse, but he deserves to go. I think he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, not just the American League. And his ERA over the 9-start stretch before yesterday, he had a 9-start stretch, which was the best of his career, a 1.27 ERA. He was ridiculous. And he, beyond that, has not allowed hits this year. Like he has been the best in baseball at just preventing any sort of damage. Now, his hits have been early in the year before he went on that stretch, home runs, like last night, where the worst Rodon starts have been 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 of them leave the ballpark. But he is literally the best in the sport at preventing the opposition from getting a base hit. You know, his batting average against is the best in the sport. I think he should be an all-star. He has been everything the Yankees have signed and then some, a refined version of what they signed, because he has more pitches now. He has more ways to beat you. I would say Luke Weaver was a lock before the injury. I wonder if there's still a way, based on the severity and when he gets back, if he could still get there. I'm not sure how that works with sample size now.
I think I've seen this before, though. There are players who got taken out well before the All-Star game, but you cannot deny the numbers. Like, for those first couple months. I think he deserves to get in.
Yeah, what has he got? Sub-1 ERA? Like, he deserves to get in. Unless his sample size, because of the injury, by July is so far behind people. I can't see that being the case because he had such a good sample size. I think he should be in there, but that wouldn't be a dark horse. That to me would be more obvious. Rodon should get in. How about Paul Goldschmidt at first base?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt at first base has been phenomenal, and I don't have all the first base candidates in front of me, but I'm hard pressed to find a guy who's hitting 320 and playing a Gold Glove caliber first base for a World Series contender. So I'd put Goldschmidt in there.
Yeah, I would have to look into the deeper stats. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is obviously going to pop up when I think of American League first baseman. Vinny Pasquantino, I think, has been on a hotter stretch, but he was off to like a slow start to begin the year. But yeah, it's a Paul Goldschmidt. It might not be a contest. Paul Goldschmidt might be your starter at the All-Star game at first base, which is ridiculous at his age, at the stage of his career.
Yeah, you got. I'm looking now. He's hitting 312. Yeah, maybe the power isn't as big as some of those guys, but he's playing. I think you look at the overall package with Goldschmidt, and he has. The good thing about Goldschmidt is he's been an MVP, he's been a Gold Glover, he's been an All-Star, he's a future Hall of Famer in my book. He has the name rec. So in a fan voting environment, he's not only a Yankee, but that's Paul Goldschmidt. Everybody knows who he is. So that could help him when it comes to starting the game.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're only 36 days away from the All-Star festivities. I mean, we're already at the halfway point of the year, Emmanuel. It's crazy to think about. By the way, folks, if you're on social media, Instagram and X, make sure to give Emmanuel a follow as well. Follow him at Berbari on Air on Instagram and X. We're going to throw in our ticker below for you guys to make sure to give him a follow. Now, Emmanuel, we're going to get you out of here. By the way, first of all, thank you so much for your time today. Really do appreciate it. It's been an honor. Would have loved to have had my 3 other colleagues, Joe, Corey, and Tom over at ESB here. But we'd love to have you back for a future episode down the line where, the other guys can get involved. So my final question, it's one I love to ask to anybody who's in the industry, doing content creation or doing exactly what you're doing with WFAN, SNY, Fox Sports. What's the best advice you can give somebody who's chasing those dreams that you chase, but maybe have reached a crossroads of, I don't know if I should be pursuing this anymore?
Yeah, I like that last part because a lot of people will get into that mode of, can I do this and can I continue to do this? And my advice would be, the only way you can't is if you stop. Yeah, people will give up on their dream, and I understand for good reasons. Like, you have different goals and aspirations for your life. You want to lay down roots. I understand why somebody would have the desire to pivot, but if it's really something you want to do, and you only get one shot at this life, so the only way the dream stops is if you stop. And I think there are ways to put yourself out there nowadays that never used to exist. We're in such an interesting world where now there's no excuse not to generate content, to get yourself out there, and there's no excuse not to reach out to somebody either. Like, everybody, for better or worse, like, I understand people don't like their phone numbers and addresses being out there online at times, but they're out there. Typically they are. So I'm not saying show up at somebody's door. That would be a little creepy, but I'm saying there's no excuse not to take their email offline and email them. Like, it's all out there. So if you want to get to know people in a non-abrasive way and strike up genuine relationships, and people are generally good people in this world, and even in this business, like, there are a lot of great people. They're going to want to help you. So I would just encourage anybody who's at a crossroads, or even just starting out, even not at a crossroads, and they're just dreaming those big dreams, like people like you and I, going into high school wanting to talk sports. I would encourage them. There's no excuse not to. There's no excuse not to get in touch with the right people. There's no excuse not to pour everything you've got into making this a reality, because there are so many different ways to do it nowadays. There are more jobs than ever. There really are, with online and with the ability to be your own creator. Yeah, there are more jobs than ever. And I think the dream only stops if you stop that dream from happening, because you are the last say. You are. And the second you decide to quit, that next second could be the moment of your break, or the big opportunity, or one opportunity that leads to another. Like, that split second could be the one. And I would just encourage anybody to keep going.
That's a beautiful piece of advice. And if anything, all else fails, just wake up a little bit earlier and get yourself a nice coffee and get yourself going from that point on.
Hey, no excuse to stop grinding either, because we have our coffee every single day.
There you go. Sure. Literally stop. Yeah. Never stop grinding. Emmanuel, thank you so much for your time. We would love to have you back for a future episode of ESP.
Yeah, and I want to meet your two colleagues as well. So future, mark it down. We'll make this happen again.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
And that was the At the Plate with Emmanuel. So again, want to take the time to thank Emmanuel for the time today. Corey, honestly, from what I thought was going to be just honestly a 10, 15-minute deal with the questions I kind of had out there for Emmanuel, like he took all the time to really digest the question and give a fantastic answer. Even from the very beginning, when we talked about iced coffee, there was an electric response on the iced coffee stuff. So shout out to Emmanuel. Yep. Really did appreciate it.
100%. 100%. And you did a phenomenal job, Rich. I know due to the crazy timings, I had to do it solo. You did a great job. I'll tell you what, if we did end up going with the four of us plus Emmanuel, it would be like a 2-hour show. So maybe it worked out for the best. But a lot of great stuff all the way from the beginning, talking about coffee. And I'm in the same exact boat. I never drank coffee. Then I only had it with like milk and sugar. And I feel like within a few weeks' time, I became a black coffee drinker. Now I strictly drink black coffee. So similar wavelength there. Talk about Susan too, saying that there's so many great moments and it's great working with her. And Echo is part 2 about don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, Emmanuel is a perfect example. We're doing reach out pretty constantly on Instagram, on Twitter, trying to find guys to come on the show. We try to do one maybe once every month, every other month, have a At the Plate segment. So I echo his closing statements too about don't be afraid to reach out. And it's been a good community out there. I think like you said, most people are good people in the community. I think for the most part, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's anxious about something. Everyone gets pissed off about something, but in the reality, everyone's a good guy. So most of everyone, not everyone. Mostly.
Most of everyone. Emphasis on that. And 120 showed up and stuck around for the interview. I know it was a little odd since it wasn't the live format for the last 30 minutes. So I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for that. The quote that he had said it a couple of times there towards the end. The only way the dream stops is if you stop. And I think that was the best note that he put out for his advice for anybody that's looking to do this or step up the game and do this on a more professional scale. And he hit it out of the ballpark, literally. And he's been doing a great job. You know, when Dave Sims, the Yankees are lucky to have a fantastic radio booth with Dave and Susan Wallman. But anytime Emmanuel steps in, it's just like, all right, look, we're going to keep this damn thing going with another great voice. And I said in our comments too, you know, when the day that Michael Kay moves on from the play-by-play role, the Yankees broadcast booth is in good shape with their future. You know, whether they go with Berbari, Justin Shackle, Ryan Rucco, they have a lot of young names that can really step up and take into that Yankees role. So it was great to talk to Emmanuel, and absolutely, we're going to have him on for a future show as well. Hopefully a more live edition. We get everybody involved in the mix. But again, thank you so much to Emmanuel Berbari out there, and make sure to give him a follow at Berbari on air. And just support the guy. He grinded and he's living out a dream. So shout out to him. All righty, folks. Well, we're gonna end it. We lost Tom throughout the interview. Tom fell asleep and then just we lost him altogether. So me and Corey just wrapping this damn thing up. We'll be back here. Well, I'll be back here at the very minimum. Corey Favs is off to bigger and better things starting this weekend. Big wedding, big honeymoon. So Corey's going to be out of ESP for the next couple of weeks, deservingly so. And again, Corey, formerly, I'm going to say this multiple times, congratulations to you and Caitlin.
Thank you.
You guys, I texted you earlier today. You guys are a perfect couple. I'm glad you guys found each other at such a great time. So I'm looking forward to finally the first true ESP wedding, because all 4 members of ESP are going to be there this Saturday, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
True. Yeah, it's going to be a good time, and we're going to have a lot of chat favorites too. You know, Mr. Pars, you're always in the chat. Pars will be there. Core Curriculum will be there. Chooch's Pick of the Week will be there, or Book It. You know, so everyone's going to be there. It's going to be a great show. Maybe Emmanuel will be there. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see who shows up for the Favalora wedding. We're looking forward to it. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up. Corey Favs, your last licks, and we'll call it a show.
Yeah, listen, last licks. Again, you know, I'm going to be out a couple of weeks here, but that doesn't mean I won't be in the community. So I'll be around, maybe virtually. We'll see. But regardless, I'll be back officially on the June 30th episode. Crazy, that'll be in the end of June already. And I know we got Bulls and Bears, New York Strike Exchange next week. I will be making my picks. Okay. Even though I won't be here, I will send my moves before the show. Awesome. This guy's commitment's ridiculous. It's probably going to be a more banged up version of ESP next Monday. I will say that. Corey, between me, Joe, and Tom, I mean, we're all going to be kind of like loopy by the time we do the show. So good luck to our future versions of ourselves next week, but we'll see you there anyway. For our next episode of Empire State of Baseball. Thank you all so much for joining. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night, and take